Howard leads us in the prayer and pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, as we come to you tonight, we come to you thankful that we live here in Levy County. Lord, we know as we come together, and we know that there's many throughout the state that are suffering from the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. Lord, we just lift up those that were in that path, those that have had suffering, those that are recovering from it. Lord, we know there's schools that they are the beacon and they are the place that children go for safety, and they're not back online, so we know what a disruption that is in the lives and just the consistency of being able to get an education. Lord, I thank you for keeping us safe here. I look up and I lift up those that are struggling. And Lord, I ask for your guidance and your wisdom as we deliberate today. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. We'll address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hogan, do we have any changes to the agenda? Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. I'd like to take this time to welcome everyone tonight. Now's the time for public comment. The podium's yours if you have anything to say. And look at all of the smarty pants we have in Levy County. This is a great crowd. We're going to start this meeting off with the perfect score recognition. Mr. Cowart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, so I want to call our brand new principal, so from Bronson Elementary, so Ms. Wiggins, if she'll come up here with me. Each year, so we're so thankful. We know that this is the measurement by the state, so of what you go through it and what performance and assessment is. So here we have the opportunity to celebrate some students that had perfect scores. So not fives, but perfect scores. So the best of the best. So and some of these are repeat. So we're sure excited for that. So the first one up is a fourth grader. So and we know she gets all of her smarts from her daddy. So Bristol Corvat. So. Right here with Miss Mario. Stay right here for me. Hold your smile. Did you smile? Bristol, you're so serious. So you didn't get that from your daddy. I know that. So the next, so it is a fifth grader. So and we got fifth grader Colin Falls. Is Colin here? All right, come on. Right here. We'll come stand beside Miss Wiggins here. We'll take your picture, and then we're going to take the first photo. All of you. This next one is for sure a repeat. So not only did she repeat from last year, but she's got a perfect score. So both in mathematics and in the FSA ELA, and that is Miss Madeline Garner.
Yeah, that's easy.
And then look at Mom. Good job. Mr. Asbill, would you come forward, sir? So we'll get a group photo here with all of these.
Only if I can stand by Mrs. Wiggins, my old friend from way back. Barely. I don't stink right now.
And while she's here, so we do take pride. So Ms. Wiggins is a proud Eagle graduate, and she's a product of Bronson schools, so we appreciate the job she's doing there as our newest principal. The next is Bronson Middle High School, so Ms. Bray, would you come forward? This young man, has endured, and we're glad he's here. His name, with a perfect score on the Biology 1 EOC, Mr. David Tatum. Hold on, David, stay one here. So we'll get one more with Mr. Asbell here.
Biology. That is not something Mr. Asbell ever did. Did I?
You got any tips?
That class you should get off of.
That's right. I didn't get it. I wouldn't have got through biology if it hadn't been for Marlene. I knew she was going to be a great educator back then. At 18 and 17, I knew you were going to be.
All right. Next is Chief of Middle High School, so Mr. McClellan, will come forward. The first young lady for a perfect score in grade 6 mathematics is Catherine Martin. We'll make sure Catherine gets her plaque. The next in grade 8 mathematics, so Brandon Hernandez Navarro. We're still excited to celebrate them. Next in grade 8 mathematics also is Leanne Nowak. Great job. And I see you brought Miss Parks here. So did Miss Parks teach you? Okay. I agree. Come on, Miss Parks. Right here, Miss Parks. Right here, Miss Parks. Miss Brookins, come on. Come on, Miss Brookins. Come up here.
Miss Brookins will take my spot.
You got any tips? David didn't have any tips for biology. You got any tips for math? And for the civics EOC, is Mr. Hayden Betts.
Chris Calvin. That's the bow tie. He's got a bow tie?
Slide over right here. There we go. He doesn't have a bow tie.
Oh. Reminds me of you 25 years ago, Mr. Coward. Looking sharp and being smart.
Looking sharp, So, you know the question, you got any tips on the civics? No? You don't know? Oh, don't tell everybody that. All right. Next is Williston, so middle high school. Mr. Swint will come forward. Also for the civics EOC, so the second one in Levy County, so Mr. Christopher Lowe. And we've got one more for the civics, and she's at a dog show, unfortunately, is Miss Natalie Moxley. So we'll give her everybody if you received a plaque, if you'll go outside by the sign, so we're going to get a group photo with everybody with Miss Lewis out there. So, and we appreciate you guys so coming. So, congratulations to you. That's awesome. We're proud of you.
Do we have a sign up? You need to get in the picture with her.
Yeah.
I like that as much as you do.
Yeah, I know. I hate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Next on the agenda tonight, Senora Rosario.
So,
I saw her earlier.
she's here, so and we're also going to call Miss Hanlon up. So, Senora.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Ms. Rosario and I wanted to start a new tradition. Last year, she spoke about the seal of biliteracy and what that was all about with our students that take her AP Spanish courses at Willis Mill High School. And this year, we wanted to start a tradition of recognizing those students who have graduated and who have earned that seal of biliteracy on their certificates. On their diplomas, excuse me. So we want to honor them with certificates today, and then we're going to mention a few other people that are here today that are working towards it.
So we are awarding, these students already graduated. They took the exam on 2021, right coming after the pandemic. So it was a great achievement from their part, and I'm very proud of them. Muy orgullosa de mis chicos. Mira. Nicole Bernal.
Stand up front, we're going to get a picture of them.
Noeda Cano Solís. Ángela Pérez. Mónica Hernández. Paola Palavecino. Y Daniela Hernández.
Hang on. Get a picture. Sit there. Ready? Right here.
Congratulations.
In addition, we wanted to recognize, real quick, some of our participants in the audience today who have come to celebrate their peers are on the track to earning their seal of biliteracy, passing their Spanish AP exams, and once they earn their credentials for their for their high school diplomas, they will be in front of you to be presented with the seal of biliteracy as well. So we want to recognize them and say, you guys are on your way and keep working hard at it.
These are the candidates for next year. I would like for them to stand, and we have Derivar Matos. We have Julie. Oh my gosh, I forgot your last name.
Garcia.
Julie Garcia. Also, this was a group that we worked so hard last year, juniors with all the other commitments, but I want to recognize also Patricia Martinez. She is flying next week to watch you, everything paid, to go and see the facilities of the school. They're inviting her to go and accept them. So there's Patricia Martinez. She's gonna go and tour the college, the facilities and everything for her to make a decision. So they are going to this is a great year for them, I know. And next year, once they graduated and earned their seal, we are going to also be recognized here with the board members. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate
you, proud of you all.
Congratulations, girls. You make all of us proud. You make Levy
Yes.
County proud for sure. Next on the agenda, we have the proposed legislative platform. Mr. Cowart? If you guys are welcome to leave the meeting. It's super boring after this.
Oh, come on. It's like
Congratulations.
cutting-edge stuff now.
Y'all need to teach some of the guys.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, so I know we had our first initial discussion, so you've got 6 items that are on there, and I know Ms. Boyle had a FSBA event where they talked about their platform, so I'm sure she can bring back some information on that event there. So what I'd like to do is us to kind of hone in and then finalize this on the last meeting of this month. That way we can then move forward in reaching out to our legislative delegation as they begin to start their committee meetings. So
You want to take us a picture?
Sorry.
And ideally, we want 3.
that's what's been very focused, to try and be laser focused. I think anything after 3, eyes get glazed over, and so those are the priority high points. So.
Is that a decision you're looking for tonight that we need to narrow it down, or do we have time?
No, ma'am, we still have time. So the last meeting, I just wanted us to continue having a discussion until we
Okay.
can hone this. And in case Ms. Boyle had any information she wanted to bring back from the FSBA side of things, so.
Do you want to start with Mr. Adsell? Ms. Boyle, do you want to start?
Yes, I can go over what topics they encompass to start building their platform. The federal topics that everyone chose was connectivity as a whole, cybersecurity and privacy, IDEA funding, mental health, and summer learning. So this is the federal side of it. The legislative side, they honed in on the topics were mental health, pre-K, recruitment and retention, CTE program, funding along with infrastructure. They plan to have a draft drawn up and sent out before October 20th, and then October 20th will be a Zoom where the subcommittee comes together and kind of wordsmiths how they want the verbiage to be underneath those chosen topics.
What was the item before funding on the legislative?
On the legislative,
After recruitment?
CTE.
CTE.
Yes, ma'am.
Got any idea what the ones you think are going to?
Well, they're definitely going with these. Mental health hit both. High up there on the list, on the federal side and legislative side. I would say the next one that received the most conversation was the recruitment and retention. There was a little talk about the DROP program. There were a few lobbyists there that really didn't want to open that can of worms. If we open it, they might kind of go backwards. So he was a little scared in having that topic mentioned at all, federal and or legislative side. And definitely CTE.
On the talk on CTE, what was that centered around? Was that centered around the narrowing of the industry certifications?
Yes, and getting more involved, getting more students involved in the certifications and offering more programs to put them straight into the workforce. And there was talk, Mrs. Lewis, of the assessment and accountability side of it. It didn't make either platform, but a lot of what you had said, some other board members did mention the same thing, that there's, you know, they're struggling as well, but
I think with anything, the board tries to hone in on three things. The bandwidth of what we can accomplish. Not to say that there aren't some things that can be accomplished, but they won't be one-year fixes, I guess is where I'm going with it, where we start planning on a 2-year, a 3-year attack. So that might be something, and I know FSBA shares that, so Outlook, or at least had in the past. So I think that's one of the things. It'll be curious to see. I know mental health will be a big piece because it's a big piece for Kathleen Pasadena. She's from the Naples-Fort Myers area, so the southwest coast. And I think evident after Ian, I think that will be a fat pitch, so to speak, that will be put out there on the legislative priorities. So, Dr. Hall, is there anything that you could share on mental health that you're hearing in your meetings? So, of
What
either.
we're hearing in our meetings is that there's still not enough clinicians. Even with the money that's been allocated to our district, we've been blessed to find adequate number of clinicians to work in our schools. We have no school without someone there, maybe even two, depending on the caseload of certain schools. But statewide, there's still a huge shortage. So even with having the funds, you can't find the folks, if you will, to provide those services, but it's still critical. You're seeing the impact with academics and social emotional areas of need for students. There's a disconnect there. And one of the things we talk about a lot in our conference calls is how do we engage our parents? We really need our parents, not to say that all, but we have some parents who just need some more nurturing and really see the impact of the social emotional side of their children, how it's impacted them in the real world and for us in schools. And so that parental involvement is really essential.
Mr. Asphalt, do you want to just get on that?
In looking at it, I think all 6 of these things are very important. And I agree with Mr. Cowart. Some things are long-term, some things can be done in a year. I have long fussed about the assessments. And I'm here to tell you, when we've gone and visited, it's not sexy. It doesn't meet with anything. It doesn't make anybody get front page news. Say, oh, we're saving kids. We're not. Those of, and I'm not one of them. Folks out there are one of them. The people that work here every day are one of them. The people that grunts, the people that are down in the trenches making that work know the problems with that assessment. And they know that the assessment thing's not sexy. But I think this is a long-term thing. I think we could remove that from one of our 3. Mental health funding, just like Dr. Hall said, money's not the issue. It's people. We got to find somebody to do it. Money, and how do you go to the legislature and say, hey, we got to make it where more people want to do this? I don't know how you do that. So to me, that one kind of falls back. So then we come up with 4. And of those 4, the 3 to me that I feel are most important as far as I'm concerned is that reduction of the district's participation requirement, the restoring the DCP allocation, and of course the internet technology Chromebook funding, because all of those things are funding based and we are not a wealthy county. And if the trend continues to go, take for example Chromebooks, there's going to come a day we got to get new Chromebooks. We don't have money laying around to get new Chromebooks unless we get some funding. The reduction in that capital improvement millage would help us tremendously because we need capital improvements at all times, and we're having to do without it because we built 2 schools that needed to be done, and there's nothing wrong with what we did, but we still are in a spot where we've still got the others to maintain. And then the restoration of the allocation, $250,000 minimum to me is not enough. I'd like to see it be at least $500,000, but anything is better than where we sit now. So those, in my opinion, those are the three that I feel of these 6 would be my top 3 at this point.
Do you want to?
Off of this list right here and listening to other district board members speak, those that have been around for a while, my top 3 would be the internet. I believe the mental health funding and also I scratched the mental health funding because I know that's going to be hit on 2 levels here through FSBA. So it would be to reduce that millage. That would be number 2. And I would choose assessments right now because I think possibly as a board and what we're hearing from the people in the trenches, that we as a board can help them in that area. So that would be my 3rd choice.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brookins?
I think it's very important that we do narrow them down to 3. Mental health funding, which I agree will be hit on, but it needs to be our priority as well. The internet for our area, I'm concerned that we won't get as far with the internet just because the other counties, they have that, and so they don't really understand what we're having to deal with. So I'm just going to listen and listen to the school board's suggestions and what this board decides so that we can all together narrow it down to 3. But it does have to be narrowed down. Thank you, that's all.
I think number 6 needs to be number 1 because I think a lot of the others obsolete. If we're in a digital world and we don't have the technology to educate our children, it's going to drive mental health and a lot of other issues. The mental health issue, somewhere along the line, we've got to, that's an ocean. We've got to start breaking mental health down into categories and segments so that we can start. You can't just fund mental health. There's too much. It's too big of a subject. So we got to start breaking those things down further so we can start attacking it. It's a buzzword, is what I'm saying, and it shouldn't be a buzzword. There's things within it we need to break down, in my opinion, and hone in. The biggest issue within mental health, I guess, is what I'm saying, or even maybe the smaller ones that we can attack, that we can do, because we had a shortage of welders in the country in a matter of about 6 or 8 years. Through education, we filled the world up with welders, but at the same time, for mental health work, it takes time to attract people to those positions and get them educated and through. And if we really don't have the counselors, the whole big picture is really tough. So anyway, our immediate short-term need, if we don't have Chromebooks and we don't have internet to work on, we can't take assessments, we can't do testing, we can't do learning every day in class, and I think it's the most important. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. At the last meeting, I said in a perfect world, it would be mental health. Hands down, we need that. Again, we have 14 expulsion hearings in 2 meetings. It's all, in my opinion, the result of COVID, a lot of it. And we need mental health, but without working Chromebooks and internet, so that would be, both of those are, I'm going to pick 4 because I can't pick 3. Internet, mental health, and the assessments, but also the recruitment. Is that 5? The recruitment, retention of teachers too. When we have a school that has lacking 5 math teachers in one school. So it kind of goes back to what you said about mental health. Yes, in a perfect world, mental health, but if we don't have connectivity, Chromebooks, and teachers. So, recruitment, retention is a huge issue to me also. 2 cents.
Thank you, Board members.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Delaney.
I would just encourage the board, of this list of 6, 2 of them are a specific ask, like 3 and 4, and I would encourage the board to mold their priorities into that format, because it's very easy for legislature to say, oh, well, we did something about mental health, but it may not move the needle to where we want.
Right.
So we probably ought to get them more in that format of a specific ask.
Okay. So we'll discuss that and vote on that at the next meeting?
We may even go into the November.
Okay.
Cycle. So I'll look at the committee meeting, because I think it's a little bit later session, so we've got a little bit of time. So I just want to make sure that we've talked and had enough discussion in case anything comes up through this first semester, so.
Okay. The next on the agenda is the November 22nd meeting.
Board members in statute, so each year, school board members, so take office this 2 weeks after the general election. With this year, with us seating a new school board member and also needing to have our board reorganization needing to happen in November, we need to bring that meeting back online. So what is the pleasure? So that should be a morning meeting, or I offer up that Monday before FSBA, so which would you prefer? 22nd, so
The week of Thanksgiving or the 28th. Is that correct?
And I know we've got our sitting board member-elect in the audience, and I believe he's good with either date, so.
He's the new guy, we don't really care. He's gonna live with what we give him.
Benefit of the 22nd.
I like the 22nd if we're just suggesting. I mean, if people oppose, I mean, I can work with
Just need
anything
to put it on
too.
there, so, like I said, it's referenced in 2 different statutes, so with that, so the idea, when we're not on an election cycle, so, we normally cancel that meeting because it is a light meeting, so it will probably be a little bit of, hopefully, a light meeting, so.
The benefit of the 22nd is that is strict adherence to the exact letter and comma of the law. And then everybody could go as a sworn-in board member to FSBA.
Let's do the 22nd.
Yeah.
And then you three will be sworn back in as
Right.
well.
So
Right.
Unless we don't show up.
Ashley and Cameron
Cameron, Ash,
will be
and Devin.
re-upped, so. and
Unless we
then we'll
just
get
don't
to
show up.
Swear in Devin, so.
You can swear me out.
That's
Can I have
different.
a picture that day
Yes,
too?
picture.
It's different than custom.
You know, I hate
It's
pictures.
different.
Do we need to-
Yeah, sure. We'll
I'll do it
that
anyway.
day, everybody, we will need a new board picture.
Can't you just Photoshop me in?
Okay. You need to vote on
We
that?
have to have some votes about that.
From about 10 years ago when I was lighter and had darker hair.
Next up on the agenda, we have Dr. Hall, who's given us all these great gifts.
Delicious candy.
What is that?
Yeah, lots of goodies.
It's a heavy bag. My gracious.
This is a safe place. A safe place. Good evening to everyone. As you know, all of us invited to stand before you to celebrate all of our children in Levy County. In this case, it's our students with disabilities. They bring to us a lot of success. Before I move forward, I just want to say good evening to Madam Chair, all the board members, our fine attorney, Mr. Delaney, hello. And of course, our superintendent. The balloons behind me, okay, do you know what they represent or who they represent?
Diversity.
I'm gonna practice my wait time. I don't do good with wait time, but I'm gonna, not wait, but W-A-I-T, wait time. So, the blue represents Bronson community, and of course the red, I love myself some red, is the Wilson community. The yellow is Chiefland, and then we have green is,
Yankee Town.
there you go, and then of course purple is Cedar Key. So they represent our 5 communities. And many could not be here today or this evening, but we do have Miss Sasha from Cedar Key who's going to share in just momentarily. But there's some things here I want to just touch on quickly. I think this is the first time ever that I've only had 5 slides ever in my world. Just 5.
Are you okay?
Not really. I'm having some anxiety here.
We are proud of you.
But I do want to give time to others, and I know you want to hear their success stories from their respective schools. But before doing so, one of the things I want to share with you, for about 8 years now, we do this daily question for disability, thought-provoking questions. So all of our teachers, our administrators, administrators can certainly chime in, but it's really for the school staff, instructional or otherwise. We even had our transportation department to participate as well. And so each day they receive a $25 voucher. They haven't received it yet, but those that has the first response, and they come at different times of the day, because we know that starting and ending time varies in many of our schools, they receive a $25 voucher that they can use for their classroom supplies. So something to offset, because a lot of our teachers, and you know, they're spending a lot of money out of pocket for their kiddos in their class. So this kind of offsets that a little bit. So at this time, I'm going to share the top 5 accomplishments, and this is based on the data from our State Department. Is our indicators. There's actually 14 indicators. I'm only capturing 5 that's more specific to Levy County, our success. So the first one there is one that we had last year. Our graduation rate is doing quite well, and these are for our students with disabilities. Remember that our students have until their 22nd birthday to graduate with no penalty. However, there is a penalty if our students, when they enroll in 9th grade and part of their cohort, if they don't graduate in that 4-year window, it's not captured. But the state of Florida still maintains data. The data that you're looking at is the federal uniform graduation data, which means that our students with disabilities are graduating with their cohort in 4 years. And this is lagging data. Last year, we were at 85.7. That was 1920 because it's lagging. 89.7 is the most recent data. So great things are happening for our students with disabilities. And I think part of that is that we have high expectations for our students with support, and that support is essential. Least restrictive environment, 80.5 is increased. This time last year was 78%. So more of our students are being included, for lack of a better word, in the gen ed classroom with their non-disabled peers. They can do the work. We've got to raise that bar and expect high expectations and delivery of what they learn and can do in those classes. Our post-school outcome, this data is captured once the child graduates. They've been in the Department of Education, they track by their Social Security to find out where our kiddos are when they graduate. So 65.5% of our students enrolled in higher education within 1 year of graduating from high school, or they're employed. So they're either in school or they're working. They're contributing to their community, which is a beautiful thing. Parental involvement. So each year, you may have seen it in emails, we send out a survey, we inform schools that the parents can come in and do a paper pencil copy of the survey that's created by Department of Education. It goes about 3 months, and then they capture all that data. And part of that is parental involvement. They ask specific questions of parents about specific schools. Are you involved in the decision making? Are you feeling like your child's needs are being met? It doesn't mean that we say yes to everything, but we say yes to things that are right for children. 85% of our parents in Levy County stated that schools facilitated parental involvement as a means of improving services and results for children with disabilities, that they feel that their child needs are being met. Kind of think about that for a moment. You think about that as a board member, how many calls you receive from parents who have concerns, and they're reaching out to you to help them. I think about the number of calls that I receive and my staff of parents who are reaching out because they want help, or they perceive that we're not giving all that we can. But when asked, 85%, that's something to be really happy about. We're doing some great things here in Levy County. And then the last top 5 is our early childhood programs, ages 3 to 5. You know, we don't have separate classes for our little ones, 3 to 5 years of age, ESC. They're included with their non-disabled peers again. It increased from last year, that's 91.4%. The year before was 89%. So slowly but surely. And certainly we have students that perhaps may need a more restrictive environment. It just depends. And we know that kids have IEPs, or IEPs are individualized. So it's not one way of work for every kid. Inclusive education. Remember that our students with disabilities are first gen ed students who need specially designed instruction. So when we refer to our students, we refer to them as students with disabilities, but we know they're first gen ed students. That's where they start. And then we narrow down what those specific needs are. We understand they have different learning styles, but all kids do. So do we as adults. We have different learning styles. We need to embrace those learning styles and really teach to their strength as much as we possibly can. They're to be celebrated and of course valued. And I talked about the potential and raising the bar for our children, because if you give them the right support and believe in them and expect for them, more times than not, they're going to deliver. They're going to show you what they know. The school culture, building relationships, social responsibility, and also remembering that ESC services can be delivered in any environment. ESC is a service and not a place. Okay. I just capture a few things here in terms of the benefits of inclusion for students with disabilities. Many of them we're aware of, but the one that really hits home for me are actually two. I just spoke of one, that higher expectations, not using our disability as a reason why we cannot perform. We need our educators to believe that as well as our students and their families. I sit in meetings all the time, and every now and then a school would describe a student, their student, how they're performing well at school. And sometimes we have parents say, "You mean my child can do that?" They're really surprised at what they can accomplish. And it's back to believing in our children, having high expectations, and providing the level of support that they need. When I hear that, and I talked to, I had one parent a couple of years ago cried in the meeting. She could not believe that was her kid that was doing so well, with great teachers who believe in them. And is it hard? Absolutely, it's hard. You ask a teacher. It's very hard and difficult, but they stay the course because they see that potential in that student. And that parent just, she was like, I can't believe, I never would have thought. And don't talk about college. We're going to talk about this later. Don't talk about college. Some of our parents don't believe their kids can go off to college. You hear more about that. We got some exciting news. One of my friends is going to chime in momentarily. So there's a lot of benefits, more than the ones that I've listed here. And the last one, preparing all students for adult life and an inclusive society. That's really our goal. That we're not living in separate worlds, that is all inclusive, that we embrace all. So with that being said, at this time, I'll begin sharing success stories on behalf of 4 of our schools. But first, we're going to hear from Ms. Sasha Matthews, who's going to talk a little bit about one of her little guys in preschool. So, you come to the podium, darling. It is all your time. It is your turn to shine, and your student. So take it away.
Hi. So I have been blessed to re-enter the world of education after taking a 10-year break and working with hospice, and I got to be with this little guy who has Smith-Lemli-Optese syndrome. When I got him, he was in a little wheelie kind of walker thing. Family and doctors really didn't give him much chance of walking on his own and assisted more than just a couple toddling steps. At the end of last year, he was taking some toddling little steps on his own. He is fully walking. Nothing assisted at this point at all, other than me. I get my steps in every day, and then some. If you come to the school, you'll see us constantly walking around. Some of his other things, he does have sensory issues, sand being one of them, and the aide that was with him before I got him was starting to work with him on that. And then he kind of fell back after the Christmas break last year. So I have spent since school started, hours sitting out on the playground with him, holding sand in my hand, letting him touch it. Last Monday, he sat in the sandbox with me. So I'm learning how to build sandcastles. Do you have any tips? I need them, please. And he's just been a true blessing. He makes everybody smile. Kids on the campus are really good with working with him. He doesn't do real well with large crowds, but he is now walking through the school high-fiving. Our school resource officer is his best friend. He absolutely loves Carl. He hugs him, which he had never done before. He's just amazing. He is absolutely just amazing to spend. I get to go to work and play. You're paying me to play all day. Sorry. The other thing he has discovered, he loves painting. This week he thinks he likes to paint me better than he likes to paint the paper I still have paint on me. And we also started this week, or last week, at the end of the week, and this week working with using markers. He's doing actually very well with it, but the thing is with the marker versus the paint he puts his hands in it, move around and see the paint and stare at it. Where the markers, he draws them and he puts his hands in it and he's looking at his hands and is not seeing the outcome of it. So it has been a blessing to see this young boy do things that he really didn't think he would be able to do. And he's making friends. And like I said, you'll see him walking around the school high-fiving. And he loves our goat at the school. Yeah.
So Ms. Sasha, you want to show the video? We want to show the video?
I don't.
We have it.
Oh.
Yeah, Ms. Laura sent it to me. Said, let's see our little guy.
Oh, wow, he's walking.
He's walking.
That's pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Sometimes it looks like he's almost wanting to run, doesn't it?
It does. We're really good at falling as well, and he thinks falling is fun. There he is with our goat. I'm not sure of the goat's name. We call him Billy. Or drinks a bottle. He doesn't eat actual food. It's a sensory thing. There's painting as well. But he tries to lick the goat. We haven't figured this out yet. He likes to lick the goat. And his parents are so supportive and absolutely wonderful to work with. We're working on breaking a habit. He does an endearment where he kind of pats your neck. He gets a little excited sometimes, and it can be hurtful, so we are trying to work on that, because at 15, that's not really super cute. So anyhow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Come so far from Cedar Key to be with us this evening, and you didn't have to do this. So there's a little something in here. There's a gift card.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's a little-
Thank you.
he's a little
Pre-K,
fellow.
yeah, he's a little.
Yeah, he takes a little fellow. That's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
next we have Yankee Town, and this video was created by Miss Wendy Greek. She's our grades 4 through 8 teacher at Yankee Town. So take a look at this.
Hello, this is Wendy Greek, the ESE teacher at Yankee Town School. With me today, I would like to share a wonderful student of mine. His name is a 6th grade student with intellectual disabilities. I see him twice a day, and it is the joy in my day. It truly is. But when I first started seeing Lucas wouldn't really interact with me at all. I couldn't get eye contact. And all I would ever get from him was no, no, no. So I wouldn't get anything. But persistence on my part in finding things that interest him, like some of his favorite subjects, like Star Wars, and what else do you like? What do you like? Crocodiles, that's a new one. Dinosaurs it has been. Alex said Star Wars, going to Dave & Buster's. At Dave & Buster's, he likes to play video games. What's one of the games you play? Star Wars, and there was one that was had Batman. Batman, that was it. So anyway, we just struck out a conversation, and after seeing me that day, he got to where he got excited every time I go to the classroom. He would be sitting on the edge of the seat, waiting for me to get there and pull him out. So we work on kindergarten, phonics, and math, and also some science and social studies. The one neat thing that we did that I'd like to share with you is a science experiment. We wanted to know what liquid, yeah, this was pretty cool, what liquid would help apples not brown so much. So we took an apple, we cut it up, and it was very, very brown. And then we decided to find out what liquid. So he thought water would help it best. And then we did, so the experiment went through the whole scientific method, and found out that no, it was not water, no, it was not milk, it was lemon juice. Was it lemon juice? Lemon juice that helped it. We decided to see also if our apple had stems and seeds, was it sweet or sour, and did it indeed sink. So it was pretty cool. We did a lot of that, gathered some data, but he was really interactive and excited about the results. Reading. We read every single day. Reread and reread. Currently we're reading an alligator and crocodile book, but we also love, one of his favorite books is Pete the Cat. So anything I can find on Pete the Cat, we read it. And he's an amazing artist, so he draws the scenes at the end of each of our class periods of his favorite scene of whatever story we're reading. Very neat. So this is just an amazing young man. The teachers are seeing so much growth from him as far as his participation in class. His parents, they're thrilled because he's doing some academics, some true academics, and he's excited for learning. So I hope you've enjoyed meeting with him. We do every single day, get to know him a little more and more. All right, Liz. Turkey. Turkey. How about goodbye? Goodbye. Too much. All right, y'all have a good evening. Bye-bye.
So that's Yankee Town's success. All of our schools have many successes. It was very difficult for them to narrow down just one quick one, if you will, to share on the behalf of the school. So now we have Williston Elementary School. And so this video is a representative of Mrs. LaFranco's class, Ms. Beckham's class, and Mrs. Thompson's class. And you'll see a clip with our OT working with two students on their motor skills. So we'll take it away.
Hi.
To get started. These are our two students, two of our students receiving their occupational therapy services. Ms. Lynn Heron is our OT that serves our district. Dr. Hancock wanted me to share with you, I had to pull it on my phone, some words here. She says that Mrs. Franco, Ms. Beckham, and Ms. Thompson are just two of our dual certified teachers, meaning that they're certified in ESC as well as Gen Ed, that support students with disabilities at Williston Elementary School. They work hard to ensure all students have access to the amazing things that are happening at Williston L. Movement between Gen Ed teachers and ESC teachers is fluid, it's intentional, and you will see the video, which you just did, of our students experiencing success in both in ESC classrooms as well as Gen Ed classrooms. Our students with disabilities are accomplishing new success every day. Watch for our sweet little, she was one of the two students that was receiving her OT services. Learning to get around without her wheel, without a walker. She has a walker, and now she's working toward being as independent as she possibly can. And we aspire to be as resilient and capable as they are. We have a great team here at Williston. And those are the words from Dr. Hancock. So next we have Last, but certainly not least, is JBE. The teacher is Miss Meredith Stone.
Sunlight to grow. They also need air.
Yep.
And water. Plants use air, water, and sunlight to make their own food.
All right, what kind of clap do you want? Hamburger, yeehaw, whoosh, slam dunk. All right, let's do the hamburger. Ready? Put on the grills. Is it ready yet? Not yet. Well done.
I wanted to share that JB 3 years ago. He has been to 5 schools in his short life. He was receiving services from another county for emotional behavioral disability. And I will tell you, that's one of the 14 categories in ESC that we really stay away from as possibly, because to identify a student who has emotional behavioral disabilities at such a young age, if they not have the opportunity to be in real school. Some of our kids come to us from home to school, and they have not been in a structured environment, so they don't know what those expectations are. But this little guy had been diagnosed and found eligible for EBD, emotional behavioral disability. He had a lot of anger and was very easily triggered. He would get frustrated by academic work. Comments by their peers would make that didn't pertain to him, and frequently he felt wrong for any reason. He would smack and close fist punch himself, slam his head on tables, kick over furniture, yell at the teachers, yell at his peers. Over the last 3 years, has worked so hard on self-regulating strategies and social skills with adults and peers. He has grown tremendously in his relationships. His respect for adults and peers, and his drive to be successful in school. In first grade, he tried pushing from the separate classroom setting to do 2 different times. With 2 different teachers, it proved still to be too much for those 2 teachers between the 2. He continued to work hard on his deficits. Over the last 3 years, has transformed into the most amazing, kind, silly, and fun-loving boy that any child of his age deserves to be. And the closing. This year in 2nd grade, he is currently pushing out of the separate class into a mainstream room for the entire day, except for 1 hour in the morning. Next week, the start of the second 9 weeks, he will begin full-time in the class he's been pushing into. He has 2 team teachers working hard to incorporate him into their classroom families. He is leaving school on blue and purple. That's like the highest in terms of how kids are performing on that given day. He is playing with his peers at recess and running around laughing. He no longer shows anger by physically harming himself or lashing out. He now has the ability to voice his feelings and ask for help. He used to scream at peers and teachers, not anymore. He's a new kid, a true success story of JBE, and we're all so proud of him. And that's Meredith Stone and Miss Kelly Liss. Remarkable things are happening for our babies. And we have the right culture, the right environment, and we certainly have the right teachers working alongside our kiddos. So the last thing that we're going to have here, let's see if my friend Dr. Drew Andrews has logged on. He's going to speak a little bit about this opportunity about colleges for our students with intellectual disabilities. And while we're waiting for him to log on, he's not on yet. Not yet. Okay, I'll have a few things to say. I always do. You all recall Senator Andy Gardner. Senator Gardner was a member of the Florida Senate. He represented the 9th District from 2008 to 2012, which stretches from Orlando to Titusville. From 2012 to 2016, Senator Gardner also served as the president of the Florida Senate, and during this time there were several bills that were passed. And these bills that were passed was to empower families, also empower schools, but there was funding to support those bills. Sometimes we have those mandates, we talk about that. Occasionally we have those mandates, but they're unfunded mandates. Senator Gardner made sure that the bills that were passed, that he brought to the table, there was funding behind it. And one of the things that we're going to learn about tonight, if you didn't know it already, is how the funding, a huge amount of money, is being used to create programs for our students with intellectual disabilities. You have Dr. Andrews' PowerPoint on your upload, if you will. Andrew, thank you so much for uploading that for us this morning. And so we're just waiting for him. I couldn't give him an exact time because I wasn't sure how long the previous presentations would last, but I did give him a heads up about 10-15 minutes when I started to talk. And Morgan is trying to work his magic to see how we can get him on. You also have a copy, I believe you do. If you don't, then actually I made some copies just in case. It's on there? Okay. So for the audience, I don't know if you need that at all, but there's a hard copy here that I'll disseminate. That lists all of the colleges and universities and their programs. So when we talk about college ready, that means our students with intellectual disabilities, so there's a place for them. And on this handout, it's front and back, it shows you the array of opportunities for our students. And this is one of the things we have to communicate with our families. Again, many of our families don't think if their kids are in separate classes or they're intellectually disabled, that they're not afforded the opportunity to attend colleges and universities. Our school counselors are very aware of this now. They were not before. And they said, oh my goodness, we can talk about this when we meet and have our college nights. It involves every child, every campus, but you can't provide what you don't know. And I really hope that we can get Mr. Andrews on because he can go into great detail. I sent it. I did. I promise I sent it. Okay, hold tight. Can you send him an invite? Because I sent you the invite as well. Have they sent it? Oh my, okay. Give me 2 minutes. Because it's really good stuff. 2 minutes. And he accepted it. I have it on my end. So I don't know what happened. Technology is great when it works. He accepted it last night. If not, I think you'll figure it out. He said that this is very nice. That big F word that's called flexibility in education. So what you have, maybe we can have them another time, but what you have is the front and back, you see that. And it lists all the different colleges and universities. The Florida Post-Secondary Comprehensive Transition Program is housed at University of Central Florida. Has been there for several years. They have a team of educators. Dr. Drew was a former director in Bradford County. And we've been friends for many, many years. He was a director with the University of Florida for many years. He's been around for a long time. And so he's spearheading this, and he's pushing this out across our state. You look on the reverse side, there's a plethora of programs. There's something for every kid. One of the things I've been working for the last couple of years, I serve at the University of Florida Advisory Council, and talking about University of Florida, there's money for universities and colleges to set up these programs specifically for this population. Because it does take money. You got to hire staff, you got to create the program, the curriculum, etc. And so the University of Florida is a little hesitant right now, but I think over time they'll come around because you see there's a plethora of places already have programs in place for our students. There are scholarships that they can also receive. And Dr. Andrews is our contact person. So anytime you're speaking about any of the programs and parents want to know more about it, the contact information is here. Their website has a plethora of information about scholarships, programs. We even have, and we can take advantage of that if we want to start our own club. There's money to pay a stipend, if you will, for that club leader like we do, our club sponsor, to sponsor kids, not just students with disabilities, but again, inclusive environments for non-disabled students as well as disabled students. I've pushed that out a couple of years, but right now we have so much academically that we have to provide and perform. Finding the right person who has the time to devote to another program or another club can be a bit taxing, but that's there for us as well. No cost to the district whatsoever. No cost. So you have this PowerPoint that goes more in depth, so I would ask you to review that and just push the word out. Get the word out to our families, our school councils. I said they're usually the first person that parents talk to when they're looking at post-secondary education. When they're planning, they're conducting their four-year planning for our students. It really does involve, there's something for every kid in our communities. And so, the last thing we have is our resolution. And you have a copy of that as well. So let's go through this and have our superintendent and Madam Chair to sign off on it. So the resolution is celebrating Disability History Awareness Weeks. Whereas the first 2 weeks of October have been designated as Disability History and Awareness Weeks by the Florida State Legislature. Whereas since 1975, students with disabilities have been educated in Levy County Public School System with the passing of Public Law 94-142 by Congress. Whereas School Board of Levy County has over 750 teachers, administrators, paraeducators, contracted staff, and support staff committed to providing quality educational services to students with disabilities. Whereas exceptional student education offers students with disabilities experiences, opportunities that will enable individuals to obtain post-secondary education into the workforce and contribute to their communities. Whereas School Board of Levy County has approximately 1,262 students identified with special needs who receive a quality, and I really have to emphasize that quality part. I've not been in a classroom yet, not been in lots of classrooms. I've been in gen ed classrooms where most of our kids are. And we're providing the very best that we have, and what we have is really good for kids. I walk in classrooms and I think about when our boys were young, I thought about, would I want my own child in this class? Long before I came to Levy in my previous role, and now I'm a Gigi. So now I say, would I want my princess in this class? Is it good? Is it an environment? Is nurturing? Is it loving? At the same time, holding kids accountable, right? But in a loving, nurturing way. And we see that all across our district. And I know you do too as you visit classrooms. Whereas School Board of Levy County supports the goal of disability history and awareness education and will continue to facilitate supportive environments for all students, better treatment of individuals with disabilities, and increased attention to prevent the bullying and harassment of students with disabilities, but that applies to all of our students. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Levy County does hereby proclaim the first 2 weeks of October as Disability History and Awareness Weeks. Be it further resolved that the School Board of Levy County and the Superintendent of Schools reaffirm the local, state, and federal commitment to full inclusion and equal opportunity for all students with disabilities, passed and adopted this day, the 11th day of October 2022. So I make a motion for acceptance.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hall.
Thank you.
Thank you for the goodies.
At this time, I need a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now's the time to discuss the consent agenda. I know everyone's had a chance to speak to Mr. Cowart. Mr. Asfeld, do you have any?
I don't have any questions. I do want to point out we have some good people who are leaving employment with us for retirement, for better opportunities. And although I am a person that believes you should always, I don't know why anybody'd ever want to leave you. You know, you stay forever. But I think there are we are losing a couple superstar folks too, but you got to give them a pat on the back and wish them the best of luck as they move forward and improve their situation. And so I appreciate that. I also like the fact that coming up we have some student trips. To me, those student trips, be it to field trips or to conventions or to the Ag Expo, that's some of the best learning environments you can get. And I think it's great that we have kids going off on those trips again. For years, there were no, due to funding and for whatever reason, we didn't have field trips. And then we got field trips back, then that blessed COVID came along and nobody got to go anywhere. So I think it's great that things are getting back into swing of going. I know one thing that they have is the National FFA Convention. A few years ago, they did that on a Zoom, and that was the most disappointing thing ever. So I think it's great that that's back up and our kids are going. I like seeing that stuff, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Upton. Ms. Boyle?
All my questions have been answered. I echo Mr. Asbell. A couple really good people leaving, and congratulate the ones taking their places within our district. I know that they will do the job very well. So looking forward to that. And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Brookins?
I've discussed everything with Mr. Coward. Thank you.
Ms. Eldridge?
Congratulations, Ms. Wade. Yeah. And that's it. All my questions were answered.
Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now we'll move to the finance consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve, or is there any discussion?
I move approval.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Mr. Superintendent?
Madam Chair, you know, with it being disability, and you saw a snippet there, Ms. Sasha has left. So that's one instance of the love that's kind of passed on to our kids. And the reason I say love, yes, our job is to educate them, but a lot of them need love first before they can receive learning their ABCs or counting or anything like that. And it's been really unique. I had the good fortune to be in some kindergarten classrooms last week, and which witnessed 2 classes where they were teaching the same lesson. So, and just how differentiated it was, meeting the needs of our students and making sure that those students were getting what they needed on that day. And then visited 2 more where you had 2 teachers who were team teaching. One was doing English and reading, and one was doing math and science, and just seeing the difference and just seeing how people are flourishing. It is a difficult time. We do have vacancies, and we are trying to make sure that we're out recruiting. And I know that between what we faced today beforehand and what we have coming before the board, I appreciate helping us show how much we support staff and how much we show that there's not going to be a tolerance for students that are going to misbehave and not follow the rules. Dr. Hall mentioned expectations. The child that you saw there from Yankee Town, so we had the good fortune to serve his older sister. And there was a situation where that student wanted to stay another year. And it was the right thing to do. There was no funding associated with that student. We hauled that student from Yankee Town to Bronson Middle High School. She was in, so Ms. Hood's class. And it was the right thing to do. And I always pride myself that as I bring things to you and as you see things like that, it's not dollars and cents. It's about doing what's right by kids, but also what's right and fair for our employees. And so I appreciate you. I know it was a taxing day. And I know that as we go through this, so you guys will have some great things to celebrate as you talk in your board comments. So I'll leave it at that. But there's a lot of hard work going on by the people behind the scenes. Ms. Hires is leaving us so as of Friday, and I would be remiss. I could not convince her to come today. She wanted no part of being here. She really wanted to just slip off, and so did not want any fanfare. So Miss Kaylee made sure that we had a little bit of cake for her today and got to celebrate all of her hard work for the district. And I know Kaylee's ready to rise up to meet the challenge. So, and I know we do have some good people that are leaving us, but we have some great people that are coming in behind that I'm very confident in that are going to rise up and meet the challenge that we have. So I appreciate you all. I know what's coming. We've got the gala coming up, so I know some of you can't be here from other prior engagements, but looking forward to celebrating our Teacher of the Year and our School-Related Employee of the Year for the district. So I've got to witness those interviews last week, and it's amazing the hard work that's going on our campuses. So, and you guys are making a difference, and I appreciate what you do to make a difference in our students' lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cowart. Mr. Asbell?
I don't have a whole lot. Thursday next week, that morning, the Bronson High School will be sponsoring, and I get the name of this thing wrong. Father Pro Breakfast. It's a program.
All Pro Dad.
All Pro Dad. So yeah, I can't remember. Started by Tony Dungy. They're going to be doing that where fathers come in and have breakfast with their child at school. Get a little bit more parent involvement that morning, and that's cool. That's during the week of homecoming at Bronson. Would also like to thank everybody for all the hard work they did during the storms. Though we did not have it, shelter was open. We had people show up, and Reese's crew got them in. Everything was squared away. The people that volunteered, the people that were there, Marlene getting everything together. You know, you got to give credit to that. I'm always fascinated how smoothly that goes, and I'm also thankful that I don't have to go. The other thing, I should have brought it up during the consent agenda, but I would also like to congratulate Kaylee Wade on her new position. Kaylee has been outstanding at everything I've ever seen her do around here. I watched her steadily grow up, so I know that she's going to do an outstanding job here. She's one of my favorite people working out here, and you can always count on her. She may not have the answer immediately, but she will get it for you and get it back, and that means a lot to somebody like me, and I think she does an outstanding job. The other thing I have, I promised one of my citizens of Bronson I would bring this up. I don't know if he said he was going to try and contact you. I don't know if he did. Local pastor brought it to my attention. He has issue with our schools having events on Wednesday nights. I know we are busy, and I grew up in a time when nothing was scheduled at school on Wednesday night because of church. And he told me he would like to encourage us to try and encourage our schools to avoid as many things on Wednesday night as we can, and to not, if we do have a thing, not to hold it against those kids that opt to not attend that workout or that whatever to attend church. And I told him I would gladly bring it before the board.
He did come and see me, and I had a good conversation with him, and I believe he then went to the school, so I encouraged him to go to the school where those events are, and I believe there was a tweaking in some schedules. So I did share with him, we do everything in our power. With Bronson having volleyball, JV, varsity volleyball, and now basketball kicking off, so conditioning, do everything in your power to try and not have those things, and I understand that. So I did ask if there was any chance that they could maybe tweak their schedule to push back just a little bit, so from 6 o'clock to give just a little bit of time. So, and so I think we're all trying to come together and make solutions so everybody can be a part of it.
I think it can be done. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asbell. Ms. Boyle?
Just a couple things going on in Cedar Key. They're having their parent conference night tonight. It was moved due to the storm, but they're also for the first time hosting that high school parent info. So that's for juniors and seniors. It's kind of along the same lines with Mrs. Corbin at Chiefland, and giving them as much information as they can and helping those students down there. There's not many of them, but they can still, learn different things from other teachers in different schools, so I think that's a great thing. Seafood Festival is this coming weekend, and that's Saturday and Sunday in Cedar Key. Again, congratulations to Miss Kaylee. and Miss Tanya as well. And Mr. Whitehurst, congratulations to you back there. I know you were there last meeting, but I forgot to say hello and looking forward to working with you as a board member as well. I will hit on not to bring everything down, but we did, as Mr. Cowart said, go through some tough earlier incidences. And as a board member, I think it's not to say that admin or a principal's decision or the superintendent's decision is wrong or not well thought out, but I feel personally that as a school board member, it's okay to find grace in things because you may see things differently than others, and it's okay to speak the grace and just talk it out without making anybody feel as though they're being disrespected. So I think each individual board member brings a different aspect to this board, and I think we need to voice it any chance we get to help our students in any way we can. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Ms. Brookins?
Chiefland is having their homecoming. They're doing a lot of activities this week and dress up and themes, and the elementary's doing it as well. So I think that's wonderful. We're having a parade on Friday and excited about that. I did have a question, Mr. Cowart, that someone asked me, but I did not know the answer, and it was, are we having pep rallies in our school? I know they were taken away during COVID, but are they allowed to have them in the schools now?
Yes, ma'am. They are having pep rallies in the school. So
Okay.
Each school, one for fall, winter sport, one for fall, one for winter sports, and one for spring. So a total of 3. So
Okay, all right, great. I mean, I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure that was correct and
That
give
is
them the
correct.
right information. So we're looking forward to that, and I have not heard anything negative about our elementary, our pickup or drop off, and I think that's fabulous, and it seems to be going nice and smooth, so we're real happy about that. Thank you, that's all.
Mr. Etheridge?
Keep my comments brief and positive. It's homecoming week. We had powder puff last night. Middle school's playing as we speak. Thursday, homecoming parade and carnival at the school after the parade. And then, of course, Friday night, we get to play Trenton. And I don't want it to go miss because I think it may be the first time in history as extracurriculars have been worked on within our county, but Florida High School Athletic Association last Tuesday released the state rankings, and Williston and Chiefland was 1 and 2 in the rural district for, I think, the first time ever probably in history. So I took a picture of it because it'll be a long time before we see it again.
That's great.
But anyway, I didn't want to go unmentioned. That's it.
So Chiefland and Williston have homecoming at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
We're all in preparation of what's going to happen on November the 4th.
Is that it?
I was keeping it positive.
I don't have a lot. Congratulations, Ms. Wade. I wanted to say that because not only are you so competent, you're always so sweet also and positive. So I'm very excited for you to be, it's a perfect role for you in HR. You'll represent everyone well. Yankee Town is full swing volleyball FFA and full swing with the stomach bug. We have a lot of people down at Yankee Town, so I'm glad they stayed away tonight. Tonight was hard. It's super hard to start a meeting the way that we started the meeting, but slowly it builds up to be positive. The disability, Dr. Hall, I always think about the gentleman, I think he's Williston, that had the Sing Eye Dog that graduated last year.
He's at Florida State.
Is he really? I always think he's just like the prime example of everything. That's great. That's great. And then all the kids that we had, FSA and our bilingual students that got their certification. So we ended on a great night, and that's really, I do want to say one thing. Just with the expulsion hearings that my mind was going earlier, like I just wish I don't know how to do it, just to get the information out to the students, the repercussions that they're going to have. It's just a new day. And I said that earlier in one of our expulsions. You've hit us at the wrong time because we're just kind of a zero tolerance. We give grace, but on some of the students that we see that are the constant disruptors were just fed up with it. So I hope that there's a trickle-down effect from these expulsion hearings and that the news spreads. And meeting is adjourned.